touchdown. Your Bulldogs just won in overtime. A 2-yard push into the end zone and an overtime victory for your Kearney Bulldogs.
The Bulldog Radio Network proudly presents the Coach Minnick Show on KMO-TV and 102.7 FM, Kearney's hometown radio station. And now here's the hosts of the show, Mike Davis, Jim Dickerson, and Coach Logan Minnick.
Hello, I think we're here. I hope. Welcome to the show. I'm not hearing anything out of my headset here. This needs to be plugged in. Brian told me this needs to be plugged in. Welcome to the show, folks. Can you feel it? I can. I'm so excited. It is playoff week. It is green team week. It is time to meet Smithville, the Warriors. Yep, that's where we're headed this Friday night. We're going to talk more about that in a minute. I have, of course, the namesake of the show, Coach Minnick, to my right. I have also Kelly Gentry, our on-field reporter, and who seems to be a staple for the Thursday Coaches Show, and love having you here. I have Brian Watts, the hardest working man in Kearney, Missouri, and I have a feeling
that in for a second.
That that things are not working out here. So stand by, folks. Do we need to take a break? All right.
We got a little excited with the win over Savannah this week, 35-13 win in the semifinal game, and it's hard not to be excited about moving forward this week. So, Coach, you want to talk a little bit about the victory over Savannah?
Yep, sure. Obviously, really proud of the way our kids played. Get up early. That was kind of a big thing for that team with them being a run-heavy team. If you can get a lead early, they can't really play the kind of game they want to play. So I think our kids did a great job executing that. Wish we hadn't let them back in it there in the third quarter, but what I loved about our kids, no one blinked. No one was nervous. There was no finger pointing. It was, okay, we're fine here, boys. Just keep playing. So you like to see that from a team. And again, just really proud of the way it looked. Because, again, anytime you can get in a playoff scenario where a game is tight, it gives your kids some experience in that kind of game. And I think you'll see a really good game tomorrow that'll probably stay pretty tight most of the game. So that was a good experience for our kids, and they handled it really well.
Yeah, here we go. I think I am plugged in now, Brian. Thank you for that. The hardest working man in Kearney, Brian Watts. Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes he needs to tell me what to do because I don't know what to do. I've only been doing this a long time. Coach, one of the things I looked at, and I think I just want to mention this because there are so many good things about this game that we saw against Savannah. I mean, just this was a really, really good team. But we're going to talk about all the good stuff. I'm going to get the bad stuff out of the way. There was 111 yards of penalties by the Kearney Bulldogs. And I know I've heard you talk about the Kearney Bulldogs sort of getting a free pass on penalties that are effort penalties, and I like that. But for some reason, I as I look at these sort of stacking up against, especially when a game is in a tight place like we were, going into halftime, or just before halftime, these penalties are troublesome.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely something we got to clean up. Like you said, though, we're big believers in if it's an effort play, we're not going to really harp on it. Penalties are going to happen. It's the middle ones that really get at you. But we definitely got to clean it up. But a couple of them, one, you get a 15-yarder on a crackback block where Casey's scrambling around and it's at the line of scrimmage. It's not. I understand the rule and why they have it, but it wasn't really a crackback block. He just kind of shielded that guy. But yeah, we've definitely got to clean that up because there was 2 or 3 times in the game where I'm looking at my call sheet on 3rd and 25. It's like, yeah, there's not a play on here, and when you get into big type ball games, you can't get yourself in 3rd and 25, and we take a lot of pride in offensively, especially of always having third and manageables. So that's what the defensive guys are like. I thought we were a run offense. How are we having 3rd and 25s? I'm like, well, I'm trying to figure that out myself. But definitely some of the little ones we've got to do. Our kids are so aggressive and they like to finish blocks and make the extra block because they know but our backs are pretty dang special. If they can make that extra block, and something we really harp on them, make the touchdown block so they can go. So there's just times we got to, when they get even or get close, we got to take our hands off those guys. But again, like I said, we're not going to harp too much on the ones that are effort penalties. And we've done a pretty good job for the most part of not the personal fouls and the offsides or the false starts or any of the, kind of game management type. But yeah, we definitely got to clean that up a little bit because, can't have 3rd and 20s and win ball games. That just is what it is.
Right, and I think one of the things that I have noticed too, that again from the positive column, is that on a long snap count, which you guys use quite frequently, everybody looks like a statue, and so that I do see a ton of discipline on offense and a lot of things that just like that. I think that show that these guys are well disciplined. But it's just one of those things. As you see it, you want to say, okay, who do I blame for this?
Right.
I just we get frustrated seeing these things. I did want to mention too that this quarterback for Savannah, his name is Aiden, and we think it's Knechtenhofer. Right? Or,
Jim enjoyed saying that all night.
I know, and I like it's more fun to say than Knechtenhofer for some reason. Anyway, he's a sophomore, 6'1", 195. And we found that he was really a good athlete, good quarterback. It seemed to be I think a good building piece for the future of this Savannah team, and I thought we did a terrific job against him.
Yeah, no doubt. He's a dang good player. Unfortunate for us, he's going to be there a couple more years. And, they'll probably be in our district every year going forward, I would guess. But yeah, he's a really good player. I think he's a 3-sport, pretty good player for them up there. And we knew going in, he can beat you through the air and with his legs. So for the most part, we were really concerned on keeping him in the pocket and keeping him contained. And I thought we did a pretty good job on that for the most part. Because again, with the type of offense they run, there's so many different things you have to leverage and have your eyes on to be able to keep him in the pocket. We did a pretty good job on him.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say the interesting thing about the game, when especially going back and look at it, and you realized it during the game, but both teams very run heavy in this game, and it was a little bit different for Kearney because you always stress about being 50-50 a little bit, but Kearney had 45 rushes for 266 yards. Woo. So I was just going to ask you about that in terms of the run heavy game on the Kearney side.
Yeah, that was just one of those things. Like I said, we like to stay balanced, and we know we can throw it around. When we got up 21-0, and we knew at that point when we had called our run plays in our first run script that okay, we can handle these guys up front pretty well. So at that point, let's kind of just impose our will on them and take the air out of the football and really start eating away that clock. I think we dominated time of possession pretty well. Keeping the ball away from them. Again, we kind of did to them what teams are trying to do to us, because they have a really explosive offense, as you guys saw on the couple times they did score. So I've always said the best defense we ever play is when our offense is on the field. So we did a good job of that, and again, it was one of those things where, my old head coach from high school, Rob Bowers, used to say, "There's 3 things that can happen when you throw the football, and 2 of them are bad."
Yes.
And then again, when we're playing well up front, and you've got the Emmons brothers back there to hand the football to, it was just let's move the chains, and keep them off the field.
Right. Cam Evans, 20 rushes for 136 yards and 3 touchdowns. I mean, that is a guy that's 100% effort, and maybe if there was such thing as 101% effort, and he's clearly above it. I mean, let's just. Get that right out. I mean, he is some kind of player. And on the other side of the football, on the Savannah Savages, number 22 was Cade Chappelle, and he's a senior, 5'9", 188. And this is a guy that we were looking at all week long, and we knew that he was going to be a factor. He ended up having 104 yards, and I would say that. Based on what he's been doing all year long to other teams, the fact that we held him to 104 yards is a pretty good thing.
Yeah, I thought we did. As you guys said, he was a great player. Like, he reminded us quite a bit of Cameron on film. They kind of got the same build. They kind of run angry, it looks like at times. And for the most part, he had 104 yards or whatever it was, but 78 of it was on one play.
Yeah.
So the defense did a really good job getting him bottled up. I know right before half he was so frustrated he turned and flick the football at the referee. And we're like, we were running a penalty there, but he had a pretty frustrating night other than the one run, I think. And again, that's a shout out to our defense of knowing that our game plan was we're going to take away the run game of 9 and 22, and they did that for the most part.
Yeah, that one what would you say? It was 76 yards or 72 yards, whatever it was. Over 70 yards, no doubt about that. But he showed what he was capable of doing with just a little seam of daylight up front, and just blasted through, and that was all she wrote. So I think that was it gave everybody an opportunity to see what he's capable of doing, and I think when you subtract that from his 104, it shows how good the Kearney Bulldog defense is against a superior running back.
Well, and the other thing I was going to mention just overall is that Kearney almost doubled the rushing yards that they had. We had 266, they had 153, and a couple other guys wanted to give a shout out to. Obviously, we kind of felt like it was O-line appreciation week, and we'll kind of talk about that a little bit later, but Corbin Emmons, the younger Emmons, 12 rushes for 77 yards, and also Casey getting into the run game, over 50 yards rushing for Casey, as well as a touchdown on a really slick run at the end of the game to kind of salt it away, if you will.
Yeah, we actually ran Casey a little bit more than what we wanted to, but at the same time, he's a good football player, and we've told you all year, once we got into these games and into the playoff games, you'd see him run more. It just makes us much more versatile offensively when Casey can use his legs, because now you got to defend not only all the receivers, both backs, but you've got a quarterback that's willing to and wants to run the football. Like, he's been wanting to run it for weeks now. So when we start going through the offensive game plan, the script, and you can just see his eyes light up, and I'm like, you ready to run the rock this week? Oh, yeah, Coach, I'm ready.
Oh, yeah.
Been waiting. And the other thing with that, too, is we're more comfortable knowing that now with Grant Nolan back as well, if Casey was to get nicked or dinged, we've got Grant that can come in and play quarterback and run the football and run our offense pretty efficiently there as well. So just having both those two back and healthy, that makes us not scared to run the quarterback and add, because anytime you run the quarterback, you get an additional hat in the run game. So it's tough to defend running quarterbacks.
Speaking of Grant Nolan, is there such thing as an option punter? Is that can we say that is that a new categorization? I think if anybody could do it, he would be the one.
Yeah, you're definitely nervous as a coach when you see the ball snapped to 19 back there, because he's most of the time the fastest kid on the field, and that fake punt, we knew with those guys putting two returners deep that you've got huge numbers in the run game, because now we've got 10 guys to block and they've got 8 defenders, we've got 9 without our receivers, and they've got the 2 guys, so we knew we had numbers on that. So actually on that 3rd and 6 call, we ran Casey. No, I already had it in my mind, if Casey doesn't pick this up, we're going to fake the punt here. Especially in that part of the field, you don't expect anybody to do that, but we've been practicing that for weeks and waiting for a good opportunity to run it, and we got Grant back. Like I joked a few weeks ago, I told him, yeah, you're the punter, and we played Benton, and I don't think we punted, so he was
no action.
But it's good to have him back. But yeah, he's it's just another weapon we can use, especially the special teams and defensively, and you may or may not see him occasionally on offense tomorrow night as well.
Yeah, and we got he demonstrated his ability to make tackles and to hit people, and gosh, man, we had how many? What do you call them, Kelly?
Slobber knockers.
Yeah,
slobber knockers.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
And we saw several of those from the defense, and you just and number 34 is you just can't say enough about a guy like Theo Grace, who's at the center of that linebacking core. I mean, his ability to just make a quarterback nervous by the mere presence of his jersey number.
Yep.
And man, he brought the lumber.
Yep, Theo's playing well. And again, as we told you guys, about everything we're doing right now defensively is trying to funnel the football back to him, which is unfortunate for some running backs and quarterbacks that have to step up in there, because he's definitely the bull in the china shop. Like, he's coming downhill, and when he does hit people, you see earpieces and shoulder pad pieces, and it's just like, and it's the ones where the whole sideline and the crowd. Those kind of hits were and he
and
has
the radio booth too.
Yeah, and he has several of those every game. He's just one of those. It's not a weird type of kid, but you've got to have a different mentality to just put your body in there like that. And he'll go in there and wreck shop. Like, we've got to slow him down in practice. We're like, hey, Casey's got a red jersey on, He's our guy.
Don't be blowing up our own guy.
Coach, I see the red jersey, and I'm just like a bull, and I'm like, don't you touch Mr. Rooney there. You leave him alone. But no, he's a great player for us, and is getting better. And again, that was somebody we missed early in the season, but he's playing good football now.
We call that a yard sale when all those pieces come flying off on the field. Yeah, that's it's incredible, and man, is it fun to watch. And you just the punishing nature of this defense overall has just been, and that's the only word I can think of right now. I'll have to get my thesaurus out before Friday night, because punishing, just pretty much sums it up. But incredible job by all of these guys, and I love the fact, and you mentioned it earlier, we talked about it all year, the way our schedule has aligned in such a way that we're able to play some really good teams, and the fact that our conference has really improved. Right. There's new coaches and plenty of new players and new talent across the board. I think that has given us an opportunity to stay sharp all season long. Yeah,
and we've talked about that several times. I think we definitely are going to benefit from a much tougher schedule this year. I know I saw in an interview Coach Ambrosian said the same thing about our conference being so much better this year. Because, again, like we talked last year, it was like we had those first 3 that were really competitive games, and then we had about 8, almost 2 months of football there where games weren't very competitive. And then the first time you're in a competitive game now, Smithville's here, and it's so not that that's ever an excuse or the reason we didn't play well, but we've definitely now had some competitive games and played some much better football teams going into this. So I feel the team is much more battle-tested and at least have been in competitive games here the last month and a half rather than not any for – we had like a 7-week stretch where the ones only played about half for several games last year. So we're locked in. We're ready to rock.
Yeah. We talked about the time of possession. Kearney Bulldogs had 27 minutes and 20 seconds. That, to me, is, we can control a game like that. I just think it's terrific. But the other thing, too, that really stood out to us was that the clock management, and there at the end of the first half, Brian, I think that's our play of the game, the big pass play. Do we have that queued up? Did you want to run that? Let's talk about that, because I can't. There's no saying in this situation how valuable that touchdown was just minutes before halftime.
Two receiver to the near side, one to the far. There's Corbin Emmons in motion, dropping back to pass is Rooney. Rooney looking for Linthicum over the middle. He's got it inside to the 5. Touchdown! Touchdown, Rooney to Linthicum, and that's the play we talked about. That took all of 2 seconds. That is a 62-yard pass play. Manny Linthicum was in full stride, and I mean 100-meter stride, and that ball hit him right in the hands. That ball was so well thrown. The timing was impeccable. In fact, you could tell that Manny had to speed it up just a little bit to make that catch, and when he did, it fell right in the breadbasket, and into the end zone he went.
Wow, do that a lot, please.
They have done that a lot.
Oh, that was just incredible, and you could hear the excitement, from the booth and everybody in the stadium, and one of those things that, you did it right before halftime.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. We had told the kids, hey, I think there was a minute maybe right around 2 minutes left, and I said, we got 2 timeouts, so we're 2-minute drill here, but we don't need to be in a hurry. We got 2 timeouts. We've got plenty of time. And then we score the next play. And the defensive coaches again are like, I thought you were going to get us to halftime here. Like, well, if they don't put a safety over the top of Manny, that's where we're going to go with it. And then I think you saw the rest of the game. They had a free safety over the top of Manny at about 20 yards. Times it looked like that guy was back there punt return,
Right.
which also led to us being able to run the football effectively too. Because now, just with Manny lining up out there, you get two guys out of the box. But yeah, huge play. When Casey threw it, I'm like, gosh dang it, we overthrew it. Like everybody on the sideline thought, and then as you said there on the call that Manny sped up to catch it, and so when he comes over the sideline, he goes, I had to turn on the jets. It's like, why weren't the jets on before?
Right.
You read that. Why are you not running that fast all the time?
Well, you think, and I said it looked like he was going 100-meter speed anyway, and then we found out he had another gear, which was even more remarkable. All right, we're going to need to take a break. Let's stay with us for more with Coach Minnick, and we're going to talk about Smithville. We're going to talk about all the exciting things leading up to tomorrow night's game. Stay with us. We'll be right back with you. More on the Coach Minnick Show.
Exceeding customer expectations and staying ahead of the competition make dependable air travel essential to your business. The time-saving convenience of aircraft ownership is a more realistic solution than you might think. Imagine no lines, no waiting, and the ease of traveling on your own schedule. EquityJet is a full-service aviation management company. From aircraft acquisition, refurbishment, crew services, maintenance, and door-to-door travel service, EquityJet gets you where you're going quickly and comfortably. Find out how EquityJet can help streamline your jet travel needs. For more information, visit equityjet.net or call 816-804-7072. EquityJet. Travel is more than just getting there, it's how you get there.
Kearney Bulldog postseason football is here, and you can listen to the game with live play-by-play action on the Bulldog Radio Network right here on 102.7 FM or our live stream on the KPGZ mobile app or at 1027carneymo.com. The Bulldog Radio Network will broadcast the game live Friday, November 10th as the Bulldogs travel to Smithville to take on the Warriors. The 102.7 pregame show starts at 6:40 p.m. and the kickoff is at 7. Kearney Bulldog football, catch the fever.
Kelly Gentry reporting for KMO-TV here at Kearney High School, where your Kearney Bulldogs just won their district semifinal game 35-13 over the Savannah Savages. And I'm joined here by senior offensive lineman Caleb Long. And Caleb, first of all, I wanted to ask you, the offensive line has been so dominant this year, all season long, really getting our run game going. I know you're keeping Casey clean back there. He likes that, hardly giving up any sacks all year. But tonight, you guys really had to impose your will on the Savannah Savages tonight. Tell us a little bit about how you guys were able to accomplish that.
Well, they told us at the beginning of the week they had a good D-line. They told us we need to play good. We work together. We don't point fingers when things get hard like earlier. We had a bunch of penalties. We just work together. We do everything. We get it done for our backs and our quarterback. Do everything we can to keep them clean and make good plays for them.
Absolutely. Well, I know Coach Backus was very complimentary of you. You've had to fight through some adversity. We've had a lot of injuries on the team this year, and you really had to work hard to come back. Tell us a little bit about that and your motivation to get back here as a senior.
Yeah, it's senior season. We're playing well. Week 3 in between week 4, I sprained my ankle, not at football, in a PE class. And I was out for 4 games, missed a quarter of my senior season. It was rough, but my teammates, backup got in. He did well, did great. I helped him when I could, and I got back, and now we're hopefully to take it as far as we can.
Well, you guys are hitting on all cylinders, so congratulations on a great senior season. Good luck next Friday. We'll be watching you and keep imposing that will on those defensive linemen. Kelly Gentry here with Caleb Long from Kearney High School.
And welcome back to the Coach Minnick Show. That's a fun interview, Kelly. Nice job on that one. And I mean, what do you say about these offensive linemen? You know?
Oh, well, it's like I told Coach. I think it was Offensive Line Appreciation Week. They did do a tremendous job. We talked about kind of imposing their will on the defensive line, where I think Coach and the coaching staff recognized we got a big advantage there. But Caleb did a tremendous job with his interview. I think we have another one from Ty coming up. And Coach Backus was like, "Hey, let's get a couple of these guys." So which was great.
Yeah. As long as we can keep our offensive linemen from playing soccer during football season, we'd probably keep them healthy. But that was huge loss for us when Caleb went down. And luckily, it was only something that was a 4 or 5 week thing. But we've got him back, and he's playing well now. And as he said, I love that he gave a shout out to the guys that came in and played behind him, because they did step right in. Callum Bomar came in and played a few games there, and then he got banged up after that. So we've definitely had some adversity there on the offensive line, but love how those kids are playing right now. Really love how they've played all year with the mixing and matching and duct taping and bubble wrapping that we've had to do to get those kids ready to play. But they're doing a phenomenal job. And as you said, they've done a really good job of keeping Casey clean. I think we've had 2 sacks total all year, and I think we had 1 or 2 last year. So
That's incredible.
That's a huge shout out to Coach Backus. Does a great job with those guys, and that's a big shout out to Casey as well, of knowing when to get rid of the football and not hold it too long. And then we give a little credit to our play action run game as well. That slows down the pass rush a little bit as well. But no, they're playing really well right now, and they need to definitely play well again tomorrow night.
No doubt about it. Kelly, the image that we saw of those the little bulldogs, the bulldog pups in there. Brian, can you put that up there for us? Tell us about that. What's that one all about?
Yeah, so this is this year's senior group. Not all of them, obviously, but quite a few of them. This was just a couple years ago. I think it was posted by the Kearney Football Quarterback Club. Posted this as one of their first championships when they won. Coach, you think maybe they're like, I don't know, 4th grade there, something like that?
Yeah, they may even be a little bit younger than that. They're not very big. They've grown up quite a bit.
Yeah, more shoulder pads than there was kid.
Yeah. You can definitely recognize some of the faces, though, which I thought was pretty cool. So, but shout out to the Kearney Quarterback Club for doing that.
Yeah, that's really cool. And again, I mean, we talk about the feeder program that you have at that level, and we're a witness to what happens when these guys stay in the program. As we see right now, we've got 26 seniors out there on the field that are doing a tremendous job, and some of whom have decided to join us, maybe skipped a year, a sophomore or a junior year, and of course they're back now, and are we ever glad that they are?
Oh yeah, for sure. We've got several guys that didn't play last year, or even prior years, that are not only just on the team but huge contributors. I can think of 3 defensively. You got Danny Stansberry, Jack Hellberg, and Carson Shear. All did not play last year, and they're 3 of the 4 starting linebackers. So we're going to continue to recruit those hallways. We've got really good kids, and I think the other thing to note on those 3 is they're getting better every single week, because they hadn't played. Like for example, Carson was freshman corner the last time he had played, and then he's thrown in right start linebacker week 1 this year, and then Jack didn't even start playing this. We got him out early in the year, but didn't even start playing until week 4. So he's still learning or trying to remember how to play football, and is getting better every single week. So really looking forward to how he's going to play tomorrow night.
Carson was giving me a hard time. I just wanted to give Carson a shout out. I know you're not a defensive lineman. I did say defensive lineman.
We told him during the week when he had that scoop and score. I was like, they called you a D lineman because that's what you looked like running down the field.
Oh, so it's your fault.
But yes, he did take a little offense. Did you see they called me a defensive lineman? Like, well, you should have ran faster. I think Theo passed you about 10 yards. But, he'll be giving me crap when we get back to school. I'm sure they're watching this right now. But no, Carson's playing really well. And again, I'm excited to see definitely how him and Jack both have big nights tomorrow. I'm excited for them both.
I don't think that if you can't feel the excitement in this community with our contest tomorrow night at Smithville, then you don't have a pulse. It is. This has to be one of the most exciting games I think that we can anticipate. That as we look, I mentioned to you before the show that one of the things that I discovered throughout the season is the Kearney Bulldogs. This version of the Kearney Bulldogs passed the eye test, and that is, I had talked early about Smithville having a great deal of depth, and Smithville having a great program, a feeder program that has led into developing, them being one of the what you refer to as blue blood teams.
Right.
But as it stands right now, Kelly, they are the number 1 seed in Class 4.
Correct.
And we are still the number 3 seed in Class 4. So this is the entire state of Missouri, folks, and that sets up for some kind of a contest tomorrow night. And either one of you guys can respond. And I'll let Brian turn the camera on whoever responds.
Those, I think that's where we're ranked right now. And again, you hear a lot of people talk about it's a real shame that these two teams have to play each other in the district championship rather than in a state championship or a semifinal. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to beat the best teams to get there and to win one. So we're really looking forward to it. I think it makes it very exciting that two of the top 3 teams in the state are 10 miles apart right here. But it just goes to show how much the communities, both ours and Smithville's, care about their football teams and their feeder programs, and it's all that stuff that combines into when we get the kids at our level. So football is definitely important to both. I can't imagine how many people are going to be up there tomorrow night. It's going to be packed. I know everybody's talking about all the lawn chairs and stuff they're going to bring to sit over there on the visitor side. It'll be an unbelievable atmosphere. The weather's going to be perfect. It's going to be a great night for football.
Kelly, you had stats that you had looked at from the first game against Smithville. I don't know if you want to talk about those right now. I think there are some things on there that are I think, of note that just make this game all the more interesting. Yeah,
we definitely can. I wanted to get Coach's opinion on a couple of things, just going back looking at the previous contest. And, the first thing that needs to be mentioned is we're going to look entirely different as a Kearney team, because we'll have 3 of the guys that we were highlighting to start the broadcast, Casey, Grant, Theo, Jack, several of those guys did not play in the first contest, so there's that. But then beyond that, I was looking at our run game. Cameron had a very successful run game against Smithville, even without some of those other options. So maybe talk about that, Coach.
Yeah, we've definitely got some new faces that didn't play the first time. But you've got to give Smithville credit. They got after us the first time. And not only that, Coach Ambrosian does a great job over there of getting his team better every single week. I think you saw that last year. If we thought we handled them in the first game and then they got after us in the second one. But they do a phenomenal job up there of, regardless of who played the first time and who didn't, we're going to play a much better football team when we go up there tomorrow night. So we've got to be prepared, which we are. But we've got to play a good football game. We probably need to play the best game we've played all year, because they do a great job in their program of not making mistakes. They're kind of like tell our kids they're kind of like a boa constrictor. Like the more mistakes you make, they just continue to squeeze you and squeeze you, and that's just kind of that's their approach to it. So you've got to play clean football, you got to play disciplined football, and then you got to take advantage of matchups and things where we have opportunities. And again, but yes, last time Cameron Emmons was a man-child. And again, we'll lean on him pretty heavily tomorrow night. It will be nice having Casey back. Just the threat of us being able to throw the ball around a little bit more than we did last time should open some more run game for Cameron as well. But again, we got to take advantage. We got to move the football. Smithville has a phenomenal offense. I think their offense is actually better this year than it was last, for the simple fact that they are way more balanced this year. They can beat you through the air. They got 3 senior receivers that are all phenomenal athletes. They both start on both sides of football as well, so they're really good football players. And then the Schaefer kid at quarterback's playing well, and he can beat you with his arm or his legs. So it should be a good one. You got 2 really good offenses and 2 really dang good defenses. So something's going to give. We just don't know what it is yet.
Yeah, it's the kind of game that you could anticipate a I really, I think a close game and one that might perhaps go back and forth in just looking at the two offenses. Now, you never know. You can make that. They try to do it in the NFL from week to week to try to predict what kind of game you're going to be looking at, and it doesn't always turn out. In fact, I think it rarely turns out the way that everybody says it's going to turn out. But I would agree. I think that that Smithville Warriors team is. You have to respect them, and I noticed if I noticed anything against them, the first time we played them this year was we talk about discipline, and I think they were so disciplined, and I think the quarterback he put on a show, and I was a little surprised to see as a new quarterback, but then you have to remember where he's coming from and the system and the coaching and so forth, and the depth of a team like that.
Yeah, with so much on the game, and I think we're going to mention it as well. We talk about the 1 versus 3. Also for the Kansas City metro area, it did get voted as the KMBC Channel 9 News Game of the Week, so they'll have their crew there as well. And I was going to ask Coach, and we talked about it a little bit last week. There's the graphic of it. Thanks, Brian. Just about the guys staying loose. You know, I mean, this is a big game, and kind of that balance between staying relaxed and also focused.
Yeah, this group has aged me probably 5 years this year with the amount of squirreliness they have. They're so much different than last year's seniors. Last year's seniors, I know we mentioned last year, were the group that could just sit around and a bunch of old men, and this group is they're bouncing off the walls and having fun and screaming and yelling, and like you walk into the locker room in pregame, and last year it was like a funeral was going on in there, and this year it's like a dance party. So it's just a different group of kids, but I think we're really loose right now, and I always tell our kids there's a really fine line between loose and not locked in, and you guys toe that line either way.
Right there.
But no, we've got a confident group, and who all really, really like playing for each other. I think this group is tighter knit than last year's group was when it just comes to being buddies and being friends and building those kind of relationships, because they truly do. They play for each other and they understand it. So really excited to see them tomorrow night.
And it's a big group, 26 seniors in that group. We kind of showed the picture. Some of these guys have been playing together since when they were in second grade. But I was going to mention on that KMBC 9, the voting that they had, it wasn't even close. I mean, this game was 10-1, far and away the metro area play of the game. And one thing I did notice, and I don't know if you guys have done this a lot during the pregame too, is the videos of the guys coming up to the locker room. There's a question posted, and this week it was like the WWE, your WWE name. So, I thought that was hilarious. So tell us about that. They
had some pretty good ones. And actually, I like to get on there in front of the camera, and
we didn't see your name this week. I apparently
walked right past it, or I don't know what I was doing. Hopefully something important. But yeah, the kids really enjoy that. Kristen Farrell puts that up for the kids, and they really enjoy watching themselves afterwards. And yeah, some of their wrestling names were pretty good on there. But yeah, like I said, it's just she had emailed or texted me early in the week, hey, is this not going to be a distraction? I said, not for these boys, it's not. They're going to be distracted if a squirrel runs by out in the street. So they're all over the board. But no, we have a fun group, and and that's what this is all about. They play a game, and that's why you play, because it's freaking fun, and they're having a lot of fun with it.
It is, and it's great to see that you give them that flexibility to be themselves and to let their personalities show, which I think is terrific. Stay with us. We're going to take another short break, and then we're going to come back and talk about a couple more things and a little bit more about tomorrow night's game over at Smithville. It's a big one, folks. Stay with us for more with Coach Minnick.
Today's business environment is more challenging than ever before. Exceeding customer expectations and staying ahead of the competition make dependable air travel essential to your business. The time-saving convenience of aircraft ownership is a more realistic solution than you might think. Imagine no lines, no waiting, and the ease of traveling on your own schedule. EquityJet is a full-service aviation management company. From aircraft acquisition, refurbishment, crew services, maintenance, and door-to-door travel service, EquityJet gets you where you're going quickly and comfortably. Find out how EquityJet can help streamline your jet travel needs. For more information, visit equityjet.net or call 816-804-7072. EquityJet. Travel is more than just getting there, it's how you get there.
Kearney Bulldog postseason football is here, and you can listen to the game with live play-by-play action on the Bulldog Radio Network right here on 102.7 FM or our live stream on the KPGZ mobile app or at 1027KearneyMo.com. The Bulldog Radio Network will broadcast the game live Friday, November 10th as the Bulldogs travel to Smithville to take on the Warriors. The 102.7 pregame show starts at 6:40 p.m. and the kickoff is at 7. Kearney Bulldog football, catch the fever.
Kelly Gentry here from Kearney High School for KMO-TV. I'm joined by junior offensive lineman Tyrus, T.Y. or Ty Smith. You get to pick what you want to call him. Tyrus has done a tremendous job this year on the offensive line, getting to play a little bit of defensive line. So, Ty, tell me a little bit about being versatile. Both two different positions on the offensive line as well as getting some defensive line reps. So tell me a little bit about your game and what you've had to do to adjust to play the center position in particular.
Yep. Well, off season, I was practicing all the positions on the O-line, so I could really play any of them. But my secondary is always center. And I was a center before I got moved to guard because Cookie was in front of me, so they moved me to guard. And playing D-line, they like my speed over there, so they just put me over there.
Well, you're doing a tremendous job in whatever position that you're in.
Thank you.
So it's probably some of that basketball background that's coming through.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, I tell you, we've got a big senior class here, 26 seniors. You're one of our junior leaders on this team. So what's it going to mean for all of you guys going over to Smithville next week to play in the district championship game?
It's going to mean a lot. We're going to be playing for our seniors for sure, all 26 of them. And as a junior leader, you just got to lead them. And hope our seniors get a district championship.
Absolutely. Well, and a great performance tonight, 35-13. The offensive line really, we talked to Caleb Long earlier. You guys just imposed your will against this group tonight. Tell us a little bit about how you guys work together as a unit to do that in the run game.
Yeah, we're always just communicating and talking to each other, and we really just know each other so well that we always know what each other's going to do. So our chemistry is just really good, and we just whoop them.
Well, congratulations on a tremendous game, a tremendous year all year. Good luck on Friday. We'll be there cheering you on. Kelly Gentry here with Ty Smith signing off from Kearney High School.
All right, Coach, two words from Ty Smith. Whoop 'em. Whoop 'em. I'm all over that.
Yeah, Tyrus, what a great player for us. And on top of being a great player, he's an even better young man. Really excited for what the future holds for him. And as he said, he's so athletic. Like he can literally play any position on the offensive line or D-line. He actually played running back when he was younger. He could play that if we needed him to. He can actually even punt. Like we can call him slash. Like he could play almost anywhere. And another one, a great thing about Ty that he probably doesn't even know, when we do our captain voting, he got several votes for captains to be a captain. And with the seniors that we have and the senior leaders we have, that's phenomenal that he's got teammates that listed him in their top 4 votes for captain. So
that's really cool.
he's a really good young man. He's a really good player for us. We're really excited we get him back for another year. And he's playing really well right now. Anytime your center goes down, which Jackson Cook was a phenomenal football player, as Tyra said, he wasn't playing center because Cookie was a dang good player. But anytime your starting center goes down and you can put someone else in there, not miss a beat offensively. Now, obviously, we miss Cookie being there and Tyrus being next to him. But anytime you continue, we've had 0 snap issues, knock on wood. And it's playing well, and it gives us some versatility there. Where there's some plays where now we're pulling the center out in front, where he's a little bit quicker than old Cookie was. No offense, Cookie, but does a phenomenal job there. And then, as he said, he started dabbling in on the defense as well. So you'll see him on both sides tomorrow night as well.
Yeah, Ty was the second offensive lineman, I think, that had mentioned something about their ability to communicate with each other. Even and I think you mentioned there were some calls that they're making even in Spanish, which is kind of funny. But without giving up too much of the playbook, what are we talking about when we talk about the communication among that offensive lineman group?
Yeah, this is by far, these last 2 years at Kearney, the most freedom we've given our guys up front to be able to make their own checks, make minor adjustments in what our run schemes are. They understand angles and who they can pin and who they can't. So, we give those guys a lot of freedom to be on the same page of, like, for example, we talked about pulling Tyrus. Like, if we can get down with the guard and get Tyrus out and around, that's something that's beneficial to us. And that's not the way the play is drawn, but the kids can communicate it, and we allow them to do that. And that's a big shout out to Coach Backus on that, of teaching those guys the little ins and outs of some certain little things they can do in there. But again, like he said and like Caleb said, they're all on the same page and constant communication, and so they can make little adjustments on the fly, and I think that's why you see us give up very few sacks and be pretty productive in the run game, is because those guys are playing at a really high level, and anytime they're communicating that well, good things are going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's incredible that you've got the confidence that they're able to communicate and adjust on the fly. But yeah, I mean, that's incredible, because you see issues with that even at the college and NFL level. So, I mean, great job at the O-line, and they all talk about that chemistry part too. So,
well, I think one of the things too that about that, Kelly, is that this is the second year of the Coach Minnick system, and I think that is it's also second year for the kids.
Right.
So the kids are obviously picking it up. I mean, I don't think they have to think so much about it. You talk about football players, you don't have to think for that split second when they plant their foot and make a move on a play. But I think also that you guys have already done your work by installing the play, I should say, but you all have improved as coaches, and I think you're working together more as coaches better.
Oh, no doubt. They definitely make me a better football coach. I can promise you that. But yeah, as you said, just having those abilities, and again, I think definitely, as you said, year 2 in the system as well, and them picking up on it, because we do run a lot of stuff offensively. Mm-hmm. So that's a huge shout out, because if they couldn't handle it up front, we would definitely trim back and be more simple than what we are. So we make sure we don't give them too much, but at times they're like, hey, let's put something new in, or, so they do a great job up front, and they're going to tomorrow night as well.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about the coaches, the assistant coaches all year long, but I do think that there's a synergistic effect, I think, of having people together, and the fact that you're all together working for a common goal, which seems a little trite, but it's true. And
I did want to mention too, on the defensive side is our 8th week in a row of your goal is 13 points or less, of allowing 13. Yes. So right on the number there, but still, but 13 or less on that. And so anytime that you're doing that, it's just tremendous. And then it seems like even on the special teams, whether it's punting, Jacob Dillon getting the ball into the end zone on kickoffs, covering kickoffs, having your hands, I mean, it just seems like you're hitting on all cylinders.
Yep. We've mentioned on there several times, at this point of the year, you need to be playing your best football. And I definitely think we're doing that right now. And defense has been lights out all year long. With the exception of the last Green game, everybody's been 21 points or less. Anytime your defense is playing that well, we feel like we've got a shot. Thanks to the Savannah kicker for getting that one wide right so the defensive guys can get their goal. But again, yeah, they're playing at a high level and need to continue to.
Brian, let us talk about the Conrad's Player of the Week, Player of the Game, Player of the Week, and that is Corbin Emmons. He is the. I think I got to. Where did I see this? This is funny. Give me just a second here because this is funny, and this came from Coach Backus. That it was the law firm of the 4 touchdowns led by the law firm of Emmons, and Rooney, which I just had to stop and LOL when I read that. Just really creative and hilarious, by the way. But yeah, you just love what you see from Cameron and Corbin. I mean, the Emmons brothers, as we call them, and boy, you can't get enough of it.
Well, and they make it hard. We select the player of the game each week, and Corbin's been the leading rusher a couple of weeks, so he's been knocking on the door even when he's not carrying the rock. You said you got a block to carry the rock,
yep,
right?
No doubt.
So it's kind of fun to watch the two brothers either blocking for each other as they're carrying the ball. So congratulations to Corbin, and I don't know if Coach wants to chime in about that because he's another guy that didn't really play in the first game we had against Smithville.
Yeah. He's one that's just been coming along, week by week. He's getting better every single week. He's getting more confident. I think the thing with him early on was he was a sophomore, and you got to build that confidence. He gets coached up by older brother more than he probably gets coached by the running backs coach at times, for the simple fact that Cam is on him all the time, and which is great. They've got a really good working relationship back there, the two of them. But yeah, I know it means a lot to Cameron to have his brother back there, and create these memories that they'll have forever with those two back there. But yeah, Corbin's coming on and playing well every week. And boys, he's just sophomore, so he's going to make us pretty good coaches for the next couple years for sure.
Man, you love hearing that. Brian is holding up a sign that says free ticket. I love free.
I like free tickets.
Free anything, Kelly. What's that all about?
Well, I think one of the things we did want to mention on the show here today is just the support of the Kearney community for the football program, and I'll let Coach talk to that a little bit, but I think this here highlights that that several businesses here in town have came together, and when it gets into the playoff time, there's no free tickets. You've got to purchase a ticket through Misha, and several of our local businesses went together, donated money, and we have a pep bus, I guess is what they used to call it back in the day, but a bus that'll get the kids over there. And so just wanted to give a shout out to these businesses for donating. And so kids that want to go on the bus can get over to the game. They won't have to pay for their ticket thanks to these businesses. And I'll let Coach say something about that.
Yeah, that right there is 100% why I'm here. This community cares about their sports. They take care of you. Anything we've ever needed. This wasn't even something we asked for. This was just, hey, we know it's $6 a kid to get them over there. We don't want any kid to not go over there because it's $6 to get in or not have an excuse to go. So they're like, well, we'll give them a bus and we'll pay for them to get in, which is phenomenal. And we need every student there that we can get because it's going to be big time playoff atmosphere, and our kids feed off of our home crowd. So yeah, students, if you're watching this or listening, get out there to the game. You get in free. There's no excuse, and I bet if you hit up some of those people on there, they may buy you a hot dog when you get to the game. But anyway, yeah, again, that's 100% why when I saw this job come open and wanted to get here is because it matters to the community. They take care of our kids, and like I said, phenomenal place to be, and really happy I'm here.
Well, the Kearney Bulldog Football Quarterback Club has issued an urgent all-community call. And this is on their Facebook page, that the Kearney Bulldog Football Quarterback Club on Facebook. And they're asking for the entire community to rally around the team this Friday. And they've got one goal, to finish the season on top. And their campaign for this Friday is be there, be loud. And they've listed a few things that you as fans and parents can do. Number one, be there. Attend Friday's game, 7 p.m. at Smithville. Not a lot of seating and accommodations on the visitor side, so you got to bring your chairs. Now, I've seen it. I have seen lawn chairs spread out the entire length of the fields, including end zones, by the way, and filled with purple. So be loud. Bring your. It says BYO Bell, which is and noisemakers if you have one. Come ready to cheer. Let's get loud and rowdy for these boys. If we have voices on Saturday, they say we've done it wrong. So we want to make sure that we destroy our vocal cords in the process. And the send-off officially will gather at the field house to send the team off at 3:45 p.m. tomorrow, Friday. Bring your signs and noisemakers, and let's do this Kearney community style. So share, tag, and invite from this place. This is a without a doubt, I can feel it. I get chills right now thinking about how important this game is. But I also know, as I say, we've watched this team that passed the eye test this year. And I just think it's going to be a football game for the ages. These are two really great teams. And even if you're just a football fan, this is going to be something. Kelly.
Oh, yeah, I'm super excited for it. I'm trying to stay relaxed myself and can't wait for tomorrow night. But just want to wish Coach and the team best of luck tomorrow. We'll be over there. We are going to be broadcasting the game. I'm not sure if we mentioned that, but we did have quite a few requests. We've been trying to get that set up. Brian worked really hard. We did get permission to be over there, so we will be broadcasting the game, which we're excited about doing. 6:40 pregame show that we always do, and then a 7 o'clock kickoff with the actual broadcast. You will be able to see us quite plainly. We will be at the very top, on top of the roof of the press box on the other side. So Jim and Mike and I are super excited about being there to call the game.
Yep, no doubt about it. And Brian will be up there with all the technical equipment and hopefully making sure that we have a good Wi-Fi signal in this case. And just show up. Be loud and proud, folks. This is a big game, and Kearney is this is as good of a Kearney team as we've seen in years. And there's something big, there's something special about to happen tomorrow night, and I would love to have all of you out there to help me witness what could potentially happen out there tomorrow night. Coach, best of luck to you. We're pulling for you, as you know. Hopefully we'll be back talking about a win next week. So thank you so much for being with us on the Coach Minnick Show. Brian, thank you for all your hard work today. We appreciate you. We'll see you next week on the Coach Minnick Show.